Hi everyone, hope you guys are all having a great day today. In today's video, I'm going to cover the whole entire market in terms of Dow Jones, Nasdaq, and S&P 500. And then before I get into the price actions and all stuff, I'm going to cover the economic calendar. Double check if this is the latest video on my channel, X or YouTube, so that way you know that this is the latest up-to-date data. But for the economic calendar first, for Monday, June 17th at 8:30 a.m., we have Empire State Manufacturing Survey. At 1 p.m., we have Philadelphia Fed President Patrick Harker speech. And at 9 p.m., we have Fed Governor Lisa Cook's speech. Now, in terms of the movement, for the Dow Jones, it is pointing to upside. But for the Nasdaq and S&P 500, it's pointing to downside, potentially for Monday. And that's based off the MACD line. So MACD line tells you if you're in bearish or bullish movement. And for the 1 month, 3 month, and 6 month, for the Dow Jones, it's pointing to the upside. Again, for the Dow Jones. Now, for the Nasdaq S&P 500, they're pointing to the downside. So we'll see if that happens. Now, in terms of levels, right now for the Dow Jones, we're at 38,589 points. This is an upward trend resistance line dating back since 2021. And then this upward trend support level, as of recent of April 2024, it seems to be holding true. So we'll see. Now, if we do go to the upside, if based off the Dow Jones movement, then we're going to have resistance, give or take, about the 38,735 points. And then we've seen multiple times, 2 times right about here, about 39,100 and give or take 50 points. And then colliding with the moving average, 39,085 points, give or take. Now to the downside, we've seen support at about 38,400, but we've seen a dip right here about 38,313 points. But the thing is, though, what I'm thinking about is mainly this upward trend support level held multiple times. So if we were to drop Monday, let's just say, then we'll see support about 38,142 points, give or take. These are just rough estimates. Now, in terms of S&P 500, I'm going to look at SPY ETF for S&P 500. And we have an upward trend resistance line potentially, a couple touch points. That could be the top for us potentially. And if we were to skyrocket to the top fully, I don't think it'll happen because it's a massive jump. But we're at 542 points and 78 cents. And to get that by end of trading day Monday, you're looking at resistance level about $552 and some change, give or take. Now, we have to pass the all-time high already to begin with, which is about $544 and some change. So that's going to be difficult to begin with on its own. Now, to the downside, we have support about $539 and some change to $537. So between $537 to $539, which coincides with the moving average plus the dip right here. Plus, if you are looking at the top end right about here, you're looking at 536, 535. But ultimately, there's this horizontal line that acted as resistance a bunch of times, multiple times, and then acted as support right here, 2 dips. So I would say pretty much if there's 2 down days, I don't know if it would be enough for 1 day, to be honest. It would be massive drops. From the graphs, I don't see massive drops because if you look at the 1-year chart for the S&P 500 and Nasdaq, it's pointing to the upside. So I think it's more shorter term. So I don't think it would be enough to drop to this level, but if it does, this is the level we're looking at. Moving average is about 532 and some change, and then this horizontal resistance / support is about 531 and some change. Could see if it drops that quick, you could probably see the dip to the 530, 529 potentially colliding with the moving average and that range we've seen multiple times, 530, 529. But I just don't see a massive dip like that personally. But yeah, so now for the Nasdaq, QQQ / ETF for the Nasdaq, again, it's pointing to the downside, just like the S&P 500. So we have this upward trend resistance line that could potentially hold true. The only reason I'm counting it is I had this line drawn before this uptick, and we see 2 touch points here. So it seems to be holding true potentially. And if it is on the top end, right now we're at 479 points and 11 cents or 19 cents. So the top side on by end of Monday trading day, we're hitting a limit about almost 483, give or take. So that could potentially hold us down. And then at the same time, for the support levels on the downside, we have support about the 474, give or take, 473, but then we have a gap down, fully down. So this upward trend resistance line dates back since 2010. And it's actually pretty interesting how it actually spikes up just on it. So here's a upward trend resistance line dating back since 2010. And yeah, we broke through 2020 to 2022. But if you look right about here, we got back underneath it, couldn't pass it. And then once we were about to pass it, potentially, we literally had a massive spike up. So a gap up fully right about there. Perfect line drawn, looks like. So if we pass those levels that I mentioned earlier, then we do have support at the 472, but then it looks like a straight drop potentially. But the way the market's moving, it tends to just keep moving up for the most part. It's being held up by tech stocks a lot. Nvidia, stuff like that, Apple, so on and so forth. So I don't anticipate it to drop that quick, but if we do drop down that quick, we will see, in my opinion. But by the way, this is all just my opinion. Please do own due diligence and research before buying and selling. But it looks like we could be held by support about the $469 price point, which collides with the moving average plus upward trend resistance line that could act as support. You can see major consolidation right here too before the uptick. So this line does seem like it could be holding as support, but we'll see. If you did find this video beneficial, consider dropping a like. It does help the channel, so thank you so much for that. Appreciate it. And that's basically it. Thanks again. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.